Hello and welcome to the Stash-down Diaries. My name is Jen and I am a knitter, and this is my YouTube channel where I talk all about my knitting projects and plans with a focus on knitting from my stash most of the time. So you might hear some ambient noise because my production assistant Piper is to the right of me and my production assistant Maisie is undecided on what she's doing. So I'm sure they'll inform me if I need to do a retake or something. Today is November the 11th, and I have to say I have a decent episode for you today because I have 4 finished objects and 2 works in progress and a stash down update. So, and then we are 2 days out from, well, was it yesterday? I think I uploaded yesterday my cast on party vlog, which was really fun to work on, record, and everything. I really enjoy doing the cast on parties because now I have a bunch of gift knits cast on and I don't have to worry about casting them on because I don't like casting on for some reason. It's not my favorite part of knitting. I don't even think casting off is my favorite part of knitting. I like the process. So, and I like being like well into it. So yeah, if you haven't seen that one, you might want to look at it. I'll talk on the top of the episode for once on where you can find me, which is the Stash-down Diaries on Instagram and Bucephal on Ravelry. They will be linked down below. I am wearing my boxy sweater by Hohi Locatelli, which I think is my favorite sweater that I've knit. I need to knit myself more fingering weight sweaters because I really like the lightness of it compared to my other sweaters, although other ones do have their function outdoors. So anyway, and also my Mabel and Rose earrings, which I love. So if you're ever around markets, and particularly mainland Nova Scotia, you might come across Mabel and Rose, who makes jewelry and stitch markers out of recycled materials. Not always recycled materials, like she does what she can, but yeah, a lot of recycled materials, and they're all lovely. So I guess I'll get into it, starting with, I have no acquisitions this week, but Tracy is coming, not tomorrow, Thursday. Today is Tuesday. She's coming Thursday. She was supposed to come last week, but the weather was rotten. And it's another gloomy, rainy day today here on beautiful Cape Breton Island. It's still beautiful, even though it's raining. So acquisitions probably for the next episode because, well, I need a ball of yarn for one of my whips and I'll talk about that when I get to it, sorry. Time for a stash update. This one was, it's getting better and better. It's getting better and better. So for the month of October, I knit 367 grams worth of yarn. And I took in 150 grams. And that 150 grams will be cast on. At least, it's for a Christmas gift, so it'll be cast on within a decent amount of time. So for my balance for this month, and these were all small projects. So it was a pair of DK socks, another pair of DK socks, and then 2 pairs of fingering socks, one of which was kid size. And then my Gnome nettle. Yeah, so that was a fun one. So that was 360 grams out. And then I had 150 grams in, which was the Drops Fable that I purchased. So I am 217 grams out for the month of October, which overall for the year so far is negative 146 grams. And that puts me back in the negative. Last month I was at plus 71 grams. So at least I'm back in the negative again. And this end of the year is going to be a lot of knitting heavy. I don't know how much big projects I'm going to get done. They're mostly smaller gift projects, and I'm going to try to do them. I'm really going to have to do some time management to get my knitting in and get things done in a timely manner. So I'll have to sit down and figure that out, how I'm going to do that. I usually pick times, like, even if it's like a few rows in the morning, a few rows at lunchtime, like whatever I can muster for my knitting, rather than thinking about it in terms of, oh, I'm going to sit down for an hour and knit. Like I pick at my knitting as well as sitting down to watch something on TV or listen to a podcast or something and knit for like an hour or half an hour, or sometimes 2 hours. Like today is going to be devoted to one of my whips. So I think I did enough housework. I probably am going to clean the yarn room today because you saw it in the vlog. It's not, I'm not happy right now. And it keeps getting messy. Like you're probably thinking, if you followed me for a while, Jen, your yarn room is always a mess. Yes, because I'm always digging through things. That's why I want to get my stash reduced so that I'm not doing all this digging all the time. And I have scraps everywhere all the time. So, yeah, and with that, I made the decision that the theme for 2026, and there's not going to be individual like quarter themes this time. It's just going to be scraps, all the time, using up scraps. I'll have to come up with a cute rhyme for it for 2026. I don't know. Scrap fix 2026. Scraps in the mix 2026. I don't know. Anyway, okay, so let's move on to the finished objects. I'm going to start with my Elder Stash project because I might as well talk about the Elder Stash make-along. So this is, what's it called? Have it, Mosaic dishcloth. It is by Bart Larson. It is a free pattern on Ravelry, and there are 3 different patterns that you can choose from within the pattern. I knit this. This is not going to be used as a dishcloth. As you can see, it is like blocked out to be flat and lovely. I'm going to put it underneath a plant at my office at work. So, okay, so I did mess up with this project initially. I don't like to speak ill of anything, but it's not the best written project, but it is free pattern, but it is free. So give a little leeway because it's written in terms of purl bumps and not rows. So the mistake that I made, so the first few rows are like, do this, turn and knit, do this, turn and knit. I thought I was turning and knitting for the whole thing. No, so you have to repeat the same row on the wrong side. And then, except on some row, on the wrong side, you're not increasing. So I think, yeah, you're just knitting the previous increase from the right side row. Anyway, yeah, I initially messed it up. I had to rip the whole thing out, restart it. I knit this out of some local yarn. The dark blue, I believe, is from Belmead, which is local here, like just in Mabou, Cape Breton. And the light blue is McCausland's Woolen Mills, which is from PEI. It's 100% wool. So I'm trying to use this up. This has been in my stash since like 2012. And yeah, so the Elder Stash make-along is a make-along I'm hosting on Ravelry, which will be linked down below. I have the group, the Ravelry group there, where you can post your finished projects. It's going to be an ongoing knit along, but I will periodically draw for prizes and then start a new thread, which will be the end. Each year end, I'll draw for prizes and start a new thread. There are lots of great stuff in there. If you want to go like peruse the things, like get some inspiration and see what people have been doing with their older stash. So the guideline is, it's whatever your elder stash is to you. I'm using my oldest stash. If you want to use stash from a specific year, or like say your vacation yarn that you've been hoarding, or in my case, I have a lot of birthday yarn that I've been hoarding. So, but I'm doing my oldest first for the first 2 years, and then I might do birthday yarn. I don't know. But whatever it is to you, and I understand that not everybody has a stash. So whatever is the oldest yarn, if you have no yarn stashed and you bought yarn yesterday, well, that's your oldest stash, so you can participate. And I should mention too, it's not just yarn stash, it is also fabric stash. So if you want to do some sewing of your languishing fabrics, you can also do that. And it's also for crochet, it is for weaving and spinning as well. So get that fiber stash worked up. So yeah, that is the Mosaic dishcloth by Bart. Wait, no. Yeah, Bart Larson. Sorry, Bart. So that is the first one. And then I finished the blueberry waffle socks out of the opal yarn. There they are in all their glory. So this is the opal Starry Starry Night colorway, which is this one from the Van Gogh collection. And the blueberry waffle socks is a free pattern by Sandy. Wait now, Sandy. Where is it? Sandy Turner. Sorry. I'm like not doing great for my poor pattern designers today. It's it's written for DK. But I know my stitch counts and my needle sizes for whatever size socks I'm knitting. And I changed it to be a fingering weight. So I cast on 64 stitches and used a 2.25 millimeter needle instead of whatever the pattern said. So here they are. I should stop flinging them around so you can enjoy the wonder that is the opal yarn. I really like this colorway. I have a little bit left, so I might make a yarn cozy or something out of it. And because I don't have enough yarn cozy, especially when I do a cast on party, I don't have enough yarn cozies. So these are for my brother. They are going to go along with these in the mail this week, I think. I've been debating whether or not to hold off until their stockings are done, but that might be a bit by the time I do all the duplicate stitch and seaming and all that stuff. So I think I'm going to pop these into the mail this week for him because his birthday was on Saturday and he needs new socks. He always needs new socks. So that is these. And then I finished another pair of socks. It's the ones that I wanted to finish after my cast on party. Now I didn't end up actually going into my parents and therefore visiting my friend because the weather was very poo yesterday. And I'm like, I don't know, I'm getting old and I don't like being out driving in pouring rain. Especially in the dark because it's like there's glare everywhere. I can see a tiny bit of bleeding. I did buy those color catchers and I put that in there with these. There's not much. Oh, that might just be fuzz. Yeah, it's fuzz. It's not bleeding. It's fuzz. Okay, so here they are. I love these. At first, I was a little worried that they were going to be too tight on the top because I did try to put them on and you had to struggle to get them over your heel. But after soaking them and blocking them, they grew a little bit. So these are the Radish's socks by Stone Knits or Charlotte Stone. I love this down here. So cute. And I knit them at a Drops Fable. I knit them on a 2.25 and a 2.25 mainly, and for the colorwork it's a 2.5 millimeter needle. And I used my usual heel flap and gusset as always. And yeah, very enjoyable. I really like Charlotte Stone's patterns. I am going to have to knit more of them. So there we go. And there's some of that ambient noise for you. My production assistant needed a little bit of assistance there. She has been glued to blankets because of the gloominess of the weather. Now there's like pet hair floating because I just disturbed the blanket for her. She requested that I lift the blanket up so she could go under it. She does that like by pawing at it. It's super cute. But anyway, she's snuggled in now. She's done her scratching. She's snuggled in. I think we can continue. So the final finished object that I have. Seriously. So this is Numpkin, who is a friend of Nettle. You've seen in one of the previous episodes. And it is designed by Sarah Shira, who has imagined landscapes and the genius behind so many adorable gnomes. I love him. I was going to give him to somebody, but I think nobody in particular. I didn't have anyone in mind, but I think I can't part with him. yeah. So, did I purchase her Advent gnome? Yes, I did. Oh, also, speaking of Advent, Nifvent is back on. Helen Stewart is, I think she released the second pattern today. I can't believe, like, that time is going to go by so fast. It always does. Next thing you know, like, the last pattern comes out and then we're eating turkey again. So anyway, look at Numpkin. So I knit this out of Lichen and Lace. They're 80/20 sock, and I got it down at the Flying Kite. There's 7 20-gram skeins in a bundle, and I initially purchased it for Professor Fungi, and I had some left over. I had just enough of the brown for the hat, which is one color I used in Professor Fungi, and I used this color in Professor Fungi for his beard and nose, and I had a full skein of this one. And then this, I wanted to use a 4th color for the legs to add some green, kind of like stems. And that is leftover Heritage, Cascade Heritage. Look at that hair right there. I think that's a fragment of one of mine. So yeah, I just adore him. And I'm really looking forward to the next Mystery Knit Along, which I think probably start on the 1st. I have to double check. Sometimes I'm wrong. But yeah. Freaking adorable. Okay, so those are my finished objects, and then I have 2 works in progress to talk about. This one is the closest to me, so I grabbed this one. This one was cast on during my last cast on party, and I'm still working on it because it's like one of the, actually it's not even one of the later Christmas gifts that I have to finish. It is the Fairground Socks by KF Jones. And I'm knitting it out of Turtle Pearl yarn in the All Sorts of Fun colorway. And then the contrast color, I believe, is Cascade Heritage. Again, it's scraps that I had. I have it in a little yarn cozy. Really enjoyable pattern. I am knitting it on 2.25 millimeter needles. I've knit this one before for another family member. Turtle Pearl yarn is one of my favorite self-striping. They're just next door in New Brunswick. Next door, province next door. And yeah, really enjoy their yarns. So I'm almost at the heel. I can't remember where I left off with this. I think I'm almost at the heel, but I want it to get away from that black line because of the, so it will still show up as a stripe. So I'll probably work a couple more rows and then I'll start the heel. So that is these ones. And then I have that whole pile of new cast-ons that I will have to work on. So I'm going to have to figure out the priority list to plow through those. But I have enough to work on to do an episode every week. So here's my final work in progress, and probably the most daunting. This is a Fat Squirrel bag. You know I love Amy Beth's bags. And this one's very suited to me because it's wood. And I'm a forest technician. This is, or these are, I should say, the Mary Maxim stockings. I'm trying to pull this out without too much. It's intarsia, and it is my first foray in intarsia. So this is where I'm at with this one, the snowman one. So what I decided to do is knit this part of each one and then do the intarsia section on each one, and then do the finishing on them one at a time so that I'm alternating kind of done, and I'll be done the intarsia at the same time. Because I don't know if I'm a big fan of it. I decided that I'm going to do the holly on the snowman's hat in duplicate stitch. I don't know if that was the correct choice. And I was going to do the face duplicate stitch, but I looked at other people's and they all did it as intarsia. So I think I'm just going to do that and just embrace the intarsia. I've been approaching this almost like with fear in my heart because I've never done it before, and I need to just let go and embrace the intarsia. I'll show you what I did for my little bobbin. I went to my clothespin basket or container and looked for broken ones, and I found some. So I grabbed broken clothespins, and this is the first bobbin. I have to make another bobbin, I think, out of the white for this section. So then this green one is at this part, about ready to start the intarsia. Oh, I'm using Galway worsted. I don't know if I have one in here with the label. Oh no, I do have a label. So it is this yarn. And I decided to use wool because A, I prefer knitting with it, and B, it'll, when I soak it, it'll like zhuzh up. It's not superwash. I try to avoid superwash where possible. Not with socks, but with other things. But so many people are making superwash, and I don't, and it's not an eco thing entirely. Partially it is. It's just the feel of the yarn. I like, and I think that the wool loses some of its insulating properties when it's superwash. So, but that is not the reason for the stockings, because obviously these don't need to have insulative properties. It's just so they'll block out nice, and they'll kind of, the fibers will stick together nicer, and it's just nicer to knit with than acrylic. So anyway, that's where I'm at with this one. And also, you've noticed that my needles are a different color. My purl stitches are always larger than my knit stitches, so when I purl back a row, I'm using a 4.5 millimeter, and when I'm knitting a row, I'm using the 5 millimeter. So this project I'm focusing on for today, but I forgot that I need a color for Santa Claus's face. So that is what I'm going to pick up at Tracy's on Thursday. So I'm dedicating today to these stockings. I'm going to finish the intarsia on the snowman, and whatever I decided to do duplicate stitch on for the snowman, I'll finish that today, and then start working on Santa as far as I can go before I need that like pink for his face. And then I might return back if I have time, depending on, I'm probably going to spend the day working on these and cleaning my yarn room. So it's kind of late though for me to start thinking about this. I try not to overestimate how much time I have. I don't have a whole lot of time in the day. We all know time for some reason is super fast. It's wibbly wobbly. I don't know what's happening. It's like we're in like this giant's toy globe, and the giant decide to spin the globe a little faster or something, and now time is just going crazy. I will talk to you again next week after I figure out how I'm going to handle all these projects. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. You know, every year I try to get ahead on my Christmas gift knitting like earlier in the year, but I have so many people that want socks for their birthdays that I end up like getting the birthday stuff done. But I get the birthday stuff done like way early. They're always like, well, except for my brother's, because he gets 2 pairs of socks. He loves the socks so much that he gets 2 pairs. So, yeah, I'm just gonna have to roll with it. It's gonna be fine. Okay, so I will see you next week and give you an update on my progress with the stockings and all the gift knits. So until then, take care. Oh, I'm going to leave you with a really cool old church that is in the middle of nowhere. And by middle of nowhere, I mean it's up a dirt road in a mountain in Cape Breton that you need a high clearance vehicle to get to. They do 1 service a year, usually with snowmobilers, I think. It is St. Margaret's of Scotland, but it is a really old, cool church. So if you like old buildings, then you will enjoy this. And it's just left open. You can go into it. And a lot of the stuff that's normally in a church is still there, like the statues and the collection baskets and the missals and all that stuff. I love history, so I just think that is super cool that we can go in there and walk around a building that people walked around like 150 years ago. About that, I can't remember. It's 18 something, but you know, I'll say at least 100 years ago, but more than that because 125 years ago. There we go. Anyway, all right, so gonna close it off again. I will see you next week, and once again, take care.